In this video, I will teach you how my students quickly learn how to speak Argentinian Spanish in less than just 4 months. My name is Nicolas, I'm from Argentina, Buenos Aires. I'm a Spanish teacher who helps travelers, new residents, and investors to Argentina to speak Spanish. And in this video, I will teach you my method and how all my students that you can see in my channel, they all have learned Spanish and they all have learned this Argentinian Spanish for traveling and for living here in Argentina. So if you're ready, let's start with this and see how things are. Well, if you know me, if you have seen my videos, you know my own philosophy. And if you haven't, I will tell you a little bit about this. I think that one of the most important things to learn a language, in specific Spanish, is to bear in mind that grammar is a huge part of Spanish, is a huge part of a language, but a language is not all about grammar. Grammar is extremely useful, grammar is extremely important, but it is not what we have to focus most of our time. What we actually have to focus most of our time is to develop this communication, is to develop this fluency, is to work on having a larger vocabulary that allows you to speak in real life context. Because if you go to Argentina, if you go to Buenos Aires, you have an emergency and you just know the rules, like you just know what the endings are in Spanish, you just know in what position, in what location, a specific letter or specific word has to be, but you don't know the specific words for saying, for example, door. You don't know how to say a bus. You don't know how to say you're in a hurry or something like this. Then everything that you have learned is not useful in real life, because you can be able to say things in subjunctive, you can be able to make questions using appropriate grammar, but if you go to real life and then you have a problem, then you have to do something important, then you meet the love of your life and you cannot communicate with that person, you cannot communicate in emergencies, you cannot buy anything, you are always alone because you just cannot communicate with anyone, then all the grammar and all the stuff that you have learned is not useful at all. Because in real life, you cannot just stop and just think about all these grammatical things and start using them in real life. No. So in my philosophy, and the philosophy that I teach to all my students, is to mostly focus on vocabulary, is to mostly focus on developing and speaking as fast as possible. And the main reason this is my philosophy is because I work with travelers. I work with casual travelers. I work with new residents, people that they do not speak Spanish at all. They are all beginners and they need to speak Spanish as fast as possible. So what I teach to them all is to make their life as easy as possible, as fast as possible. Because this kind of people, when they finish a lesson, they need to use in real life all they have learned on all my lessons. So that's why I have developed the philosophy for myself when I learn languages, and the philosophy that I share to all my students when they have to learn Spanish with me. And this is the philosophy or the thought or the idea or the method that I have really on to make my program, to make my method, to make all my lessons and what I have to teach all my students here. And that's the main reason all of my students have had amazing results and great experiences here in Argentina. Another important part that we have here, my philosophy that we have, that I have here on my program, is that speaking for me and for all my students is the most important part of all for learning a language. Speaking is the main goal that we have. So then that's why I focus so much on speaking. That's why I work a lot here on my program. We work a lot on speaking with all my students. Again, for the reason that they all are travelers, for the reason that they all are here in Argentina and they need to speak as fast as possible. They need to understand everything and they just need to work on their understanding using all of these new words in real context. And my program, we mostly focus on learning a specific vocabulary for traveling and for traveling, of course, here in Argentina. And this makes everything much easier for them all because they learn a specific vocabulary for traveling here in Argentina, so that they can understand our real Argentinian people, they can understand real context, they can understand real conversation of Argentinian people. So for you that you're watching this, my recommendation is start working on this philosophy, start working with these ideas that I have, and you will start seeing results. So what you can do is start focusing much more on developing this specific vocabulary for traveling, vocabulary in general, and vocabulary of Argentina. That means slang or Argentinian words. This way, if you just stop, at least for a little bit, if you're feeling frustrated right now, or if you would like to improve much faster, I will recommend you to stop a little bit all of this grammatical stuff, all of this grammar, and start working a little bit more, or at least much more, on your general understanding, on your general vocabulary, which are the ones that I just said. Vocabulary for traveling, vocabulary in general, and specific vocabulary of Argentina, Argentinian words, lunfardo, etc. Then on the second point, if you would like to have much faster results, as all my students have, you must start focusing much more on your speaking. The problem is that you probably don't have this safe area. I call this safe area. If you're not familiar with this, what I call the safe area is people, or let's say a place where you can just work on your Spanish, when you can just practice your Spanish. It doesn't matter if you're making mistakes, it doesn't matter if you're speaking slowly, it doesn't matter at all. A place or with people that you can speak this way, just slowly, just working, just practicing, and just making your brain to get used to Spanish, to get used to this new language. But the problem is that the only way to achieve this, or the only way to work on this, is if you have a friend, if you have many friends, or if you have at least one friend that is available for you to work with him and to speak very slowly, and he at least must be a good listener, or he at least must be all kind of a teacher, or someone who can at least explain you some little stuff. But then the most useful one is with a real teacher, with a real Argentinian teacher. So that's the easiest way and the fastest way to work much more on your speaking abilities. So these are the two main facts, these are the two main goals that you must have, or these are the two main ideas or philosophies that you should work much more to develop your Spanish and to speak Spanish and to learn Spanish much faster than you are currently doing. And then if you would like to start changing your life, if you would like to come here to Argentina, if you would like just to make casual trips, if you would like to start living here, be a new resident, or you maybe are an investor, someone who is interested in living here in Argentina, or someone who is interested in start a new business here in Argentina, you have to learn this Argentinian Spanish. And as I have just told you, if you would like to start working on your Spanish, start learning Spanish as fast as possible, some method that is actually useful. You can start working with me one-on-one, and you will start having all of these results that I've just talked about, and you will start that life that you want, that trip that you want, that new business or company that you want here in Argentina. So if you would like to know more, in the description you will have the link, or you can see right here the link, and you can click on it and see more information about my program. My program is just 4 months, so if you would like to work on your Spanish for 4 months, just for casual trips or for something similar, you can just work with me for this period of time. And then if you are a serious learner, someone who is much serious on this stuff, you can work with me for 8 months, which is for people that would like to be a new resident in Argentina, or someone who would like to start a business idea here in Argentina. So I hope that you have liked this video. Please subscribe, tell me what you think of this, and I hope to see you in another video. Nos vemos en otro video. Chao, chao. Thanks for watching this video. If you are a beginner and you want to learn Spanish, my book, Mini Stories to Learn Spanish Beginner's Guide, is available on Amazon. If you are looking to learn Spanish to visit Argentina, with my program you can do it. All the details are in the description. Thanks for watching.